So let's talk cryptocurrencies. If you're new to this crypto world, they can seem very intimidating. You got words like Ethereum, Bitcoin, blockchain, Dogecoin. Look, let's spend some time on this together. And by the time we're done, you're gonna go from crypto noob to crypto boss. Let's get into it. A few weeks ago, I did a poll on my Instagram and I asked you, would you be more interested in learning on how I buy my ETFs or understanding the cryptocurrency and the crypto world a little better? And crypto won out by a decent amount. So I created this video. So we're gonna learn about why crypto has been gaining so much traction. How do you actually transact in crypto? How to buy crypto? We'll place an order together. And then we'll also talk about the dark side of these cryptocurrencies. Stick with me. You'll see I put timestamps in the video. So if you'd like to skip around, feel free to do so. Let's get right into it. So before we get into cryptocurrencies, it's important to understand where currencies actually came about. So after the era of trading goods for goods, humanity came up with coins. And the value of each coin was essentially based on the weight and the material that each coin was made. The British pound used to literally be 1 pound of silver. As we developed as a society, we built trust in these organizations that we built ourselves, like governments and banks. And they eliminated the need for us to carry around bags of gold coins, and instead, we carry around paper now. So this is 25 reais. I didn't have any dollars here with me, and when I went to Brazil, I happen to have some left over. There's 25 reais here, which is probably like, I don't know, $1 or $2. This paper itself is only worth, 20 reais, or in whatever case, $20, because the government says it is so. It's backed by the trust of the government. So you know that if you went to a bank that's backed by the government, your $20 paper bill is actually worth $20. So as technology continued to advance, we now don't even carry around cash anymore, but we actually carry around these plastic cards. Banks have now become holders of ledgers. And here's what I mean. When I go to Amazon to make a purchase, what the bank is really seeing is that there has been a deduction on my account, and then Amazon's bank says that there is an increase in their accounts. So that money isn't physically transferred from bank to bank or from business to business. It's essentially just a digital online spreadsheet that gets updated between banks. Then we finally arrive at cryptocurrencies, where a lot of people are calling it the golden era of monetary exchange. Cryptocurrencies are fully digitized online ledgers or spreadsheets. So unlike individual banks, cryptocurrencies only have one decentralized, essentially, spreadsheet. It's called a ledger, meaning they don't rely on any government entity or a bank to run. This actually provides it with quite a few pros. Things like it's free from policies, it's free from inflation, and it's actually a lot easier to transact without any international fees. There are thousands of cryptocurrencies at this point. The most common one is Bitcoin, which right now just hit a bit of a slump, but is still trading extremely high. And then there is a close second, which is Ethereum. And Ethereum is built on a better platform. It operates a lot faster, it's easier on the environment. And then another one that you've probably heard of is Dogecoin. It's been all over the news, and a lot of retail investors have jumped in and become millionaires from investing in Dogecoin. All of these coins operate on what it's called the blockchain. Stick with me. I'm gonna drop some cool B-roll in a minute, and it'll all make sense to you, I promise. So when you transact using a cryptocurrency, you don't just get a single receipt of that transaction and the recipient gets one receipt, but instead, everybody gets a copy of that transaction. And that is the beauty of the blockchain, because if someone tries to tamper with one of those transactions, all of the other receipts and copies that are hosted across hundreds of thousands of devices will realize that there is something wrong, reject that suspicious transaction. So the blockchain is essentially a digital ledger on steroids and creatine and some protein too. Think of it as like a way to conduct digital transactions, or just transactions actually, without the need of a middleman, and in this case, the bank. So instead of me having to go from Amazon to my bank, to Amazon's bank, to back to Amazon's account, in this case, it's just me directly interacting with Amazon. This in turn makes the process so much easier, faster, and of course, cheaper. Here's how it works. It's called the blockchain because technically it's made up of a chain of blocks. It was created in 1991 as a way to digitally timestamp a document. Think of it kind of like a notary. The tech went unused for quite some time until it was adopted by Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin, in 2009. Each block is made up of three things: data, such as the sender, the receiver, and the amount. The second is hash. It's like a fingerprint, always unique, and it's used to verify the identity of one specific block. Any changes to that block will actually cause the hash to change as well. And number three is the hash of the previous block. This is what makes the chain so secure. And here's an example. Block 3 points to block 2, block 2 points to block number 1. Let's say you tamper with the second block. The hash would change as well, and block 3 would now become invalid, and all the other blocks after it. The safety of the blockchain is also verified by the P2P network. Here's what happens. When someone creates or edits a new block, it's verified across all nodes or the entire blockchain network. If there is a consensus, then it's added effectively. So if you make a change to one of these blocks or one of the hashes and you edit, essentially, because the blockchain and this spreadsheet is hosted on thousands and hundreds of thousands of computers across the planet, you would need to edit at least 51% of all these different spreadsheets on across all of these devices for the entire network to actually accept your change. Now, the likelihood that someone could actually hack all of these devices, all of these accounts, make all these changes in real time, and the network would accept all of that is extremely unlikely, although not impossible. So why has investing in cryptocurrencies become more acceptable to society? And if you've seen the news, you know that people like Elon Musk, other organizations like PayPal, and even countries like El Salvador have decided to accept one or two or more cryptocurrencies as form of payments or invested their own money into it. This widespread and adoption by these people, celebrities, institutions, where they're making it easier for retail investors to buy cryptocurrencies or even fractional shares for just $1 or even less, has created even more demand for the cryptocurrencies. It's becoming normal for every investor to have some sort of crypto in their portfolio, whether it's an NFT or a plot of land in the Metaverse, which, by the way, I did a video on how I bought a piece of land in the Metaverse a few weeks ago. Make sure you check that out. All right, guys, so I want to interrupt the video and tell you that I am doing a Dogecoin giveaway. That's right. You, just by watching this video, could get up to $250, not up to, what am I saying? You could get $250 in Dogecoin, whatever it's worth at that time. It could be 1 million shares, it could really be 2 shares, who knows? Cryptocurrency is very volatile right now. But here's what you gotta do. You need to make sure you're subscribed to this video. You need to make sure you drop a comment below, and then DM me on Instagram and just tell me you've done it, and that's how you'll be entered. I'm gonna pick a winner before I shoot my next video, which will be next week. So if you're watching this, you definitely have a chance to win. Wish you the best. All right, so let's say you got to the point where you wanna buy some Bitcoin, and you ask yourself where, how, why, when. Probably not that many questions, but you get the point. What you're gonna do is you're gonna sign up to an exchange. The most common one right now is actually called Coinbase, but you can sign up for things like Robinhood, which I happen to talk about all the time. But you can also do like Cash App, and there's Gemini, there's a ton of these things. My recommendation for you to start off with is Coinbase. I'm gonna walk you through how to buy some Bitcoin right now. Let's get into it. All right, so let me show you how we would go about buying some Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. This is my Coinbase account, and you can see my portfolio balance is $205.10. These are some assets I have in here that I've been meaning to move over to my physical wallet, but I haven't done so yet. You can see my portfolio actually did pretty good at some point in December, and then tanked. Classic crypto here. Here's what we're gonna do though. I have a few different cryptocurrencies. So I'm gonna hit buy and sell. Of course, you're gonna need to set up your account, fund it before you actually see it the way that I do. And what I can do is I can use my bank, or I can convert, which is just like buying, except you're kind of switching currencies. So for instance, I can switch. I'm actually gonna buy some Doge because we're gonna use that for the giveaway. So Doge, I'm gonna hit convert all, see what we get. So I'm gonna get 1,044 shares of Doge, and there's not going to be a Coinbase fee in this case, which is great. Sometimes there is. So I'm actually gonna convert this, and boom, it's done.
So you can see that I no longer have EOQ, I have Doge. And since I bought it, it's down 0.36%. Great. The other thing that you can do is when you're going to transfer it from either one account to another, from one person to another, one of the things you need to realize is that each currency has its own code. So for instance, if I'm going to receive, see, it just said yeah, sure. So if you want to receive Dogecoin, that's one specific address. This is not like Cash App, or this is not like it's not like a wire transfer, I guess is the best way to put it, where you have one routing number, one account number, and pretty much any other bank, any other account can go right into it. Each different currency has its own address. So if I'm going to receive, for instance, Bitcoin, I would go in here, I would type in Bitcoin, and it's going to give me one specific address to receive Bitcoin. There you go. Same thing goes for sending. So for instance, if I want to send Dogecoin, I'm going to select who I want it to go to if I want any message, and then you would just hit continue. If you want to buy using your bank account and you want to buy Bitcoin, set up your bank account, put in how much you want to buy. So you want to buy $100, and then just hit preview buy. I'm going to show you one thing before we buy this. There it is. There is a Coinbase fee. So you're going to have to pay Coinbase to run this transaction. If you go anywhere else, you're going to pay fees too. Sometimes these fees tend to vary. So I like to be notified when gas fees or fees are lower, and then place any purchases there. But over the long term, I don't think it'll make a difference if you're investing in the market all the time. But anyways, guys, that's how you'd go about actually placing an order to buy some Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. Let's continue.
All right, so I actually take this one step further. I have my wallet in a physical, this is called a ledger device, and you need to actually have it in your hand, connect it to your computer, have a passcode to get into it, and then a passcode to get into the app. So for you to access my wallet, you literally have to have this in your hand. You need to have the passcode, and it just adds an entire new level of safety. One of my friends who is a big investor in crypto, he's got a portfolio of several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he told me, like, realistically, you wanna sign up for one of these when you pass 5 figures. So when you get to $10,000 invested is when you should, take $200 and buy yourself one of these and just do it securely. So then the other thing that I got from Ledger when I purchased my flash drive is this bifold. It's essentially a very heavy metal card, and what it has is all of my recovery keys. So if I ever lost my flash drive or lost a password on how to get into it, I would be able to recover it with these keys. The reason this is all metal is because you're supposed to put it in your safe, and in case there is flood or fire damage, or God forbid something happens to your house or your apartment or wherever you live, your keys are safe and they're safely stored. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to my channel, dropping a like button below, and I'll see you on the next one.